Hi, my name is Andrea Maharg. I'm a teacher librarian at Sir John A. Macdonald Public School in London, and I'm going to show you how to use the application called Google My Maps. To start out, you're going to want to go into your Google search bar and search for Google My Maps. If you're already signed in, you'll be able to get started right away. If not, you'll have to sign in to start your first map. So you can tell that I'm signed in over here. I'm going to create my new map. And I'm going to call this map Places I've Been. Always make your students name their map first, or else they hand it in to you and you have a whole bunch of untitled maps, which is horrible. You can add a little description if your title isn't descriptive enough, and then save it. The thing that I love about using Google My Maps is that it's really easy to tell a story and to see the whole world on a map. You can follow a character in a book on their route around the country or around the world, wherever they're going. You can do a biography of yourself or somebody who you admire. There's lots of different ways to use this. And in the presentation, which I've linked to this video, you can see other ways that you can use it. Today, we're just going to get a general overview. So once I've got my map named, I can start finding places on the map where I want to drop a little pin. You can do this in two different ways. You can use your scroll bar on your mouse and find the place that you'd like to be, grab a pin and drop it, which I'm going to do right now into London. If you do that, you have to name the place yourself. So I could say that I was born here. What I really love about Google My Maps and what the students love as well is that they can add pictures and images to the map so that when you scroll through their map, you can see all the places that they've been, and they love, quote unquote, visiting other places with pictures and videos. You can see that there's a whole bunch of ways to add pictures, but most students use Google Image Search or YouTube Search. So I'm going to use this, and you just type in your location. And you can only grab one picture at a time. So I'm going to grab this one. And if I want to grab another one, I'm going to press the plus, and maybe I'll grab this one. So now I've got two pictures on my map, and I can save it and just close it out. And you can see right there is my pin for that. Over on this side, you can see that I've got this thing called a layer. Layers allow you to plot. How I use it is by plotting different time periods on my map. You'll see in some other examples that there's lots of other ways to use layers, but we're going to do it by time period here. So instead of untitled layer, I'm going to say childhood. So in this part of my map, I'm going to put places that I visited in my childhood. And I can change the color of all my childhood pins to that. I can also, you can see down here, add little icons, and they have a ton of icons if you'd really like, but maybe I want to choose that one. So now that I've been to London, I am going to go to Toronto. I like the search function up here because it's already got the place where you are right here. And you just have to choose add to my map. It also gives you the exact latitude and longitude, which is kind of nice. And I'm going to add a video to this one. I always make sure that my kids preview the video before they add it, and I try to make them have really short videos in here. So a 17-minute video is not going to really work for what we're doing here. This one isn't exactly right for my purposes, but I'm going to add it regardless. And you can see how this is a great way for kids to really get involved and invested in the writing process, because this map is going to be about them, or it's going to be about a character that they love in a book, or a famous person and where they traveled. If I scroll out, you can see that I've got my two places, and I want to make this one also purple and also that little guy. Okay, so I could keep on going and adding places that I've lived in my childhood. But instead what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a layer. I'm going to call this layer teenage years. Of course, you could call it whatever you'd like. You can see by this blue bar here that any pin that I add to the map right now is going to be in teenage years. And if I clicked back up here, the pins would be added into my childhood one. So let's go to Newfoundland and drop a pin here. And I can change the colors of these ones right here if I'd like. And I'm going to add a picture as well. When you're using Google Image Search, it's important to know that you are using the filtered version of Google Images. This means that all the images that you're going to pull up in here are rated to be shared. So you're not going to get the entire full Google image search like you would if you did an image search like this. If I search for Newfoundland in the images here, I'm going to get a lot more images to choose from. And that's because these ones are not all actually rated for me to take and use. So I try to explain that to my students, that these images here are completely safe and free to use, and that these ones aren't necessarily. Some of my kids do like to go into here and they will download or save the image so that they can upload it into their Google My Map, and you can do that by uploading right here. It'll also save really easily on a Chromebook and they can grab it from their drive. Okay, so the beauty of this is if I was doing a presentation and I only wanted to talk about my childhood, I can turn off this layer by clicking it, and you can only see my childhood years, or I could turn off my childhood and you could only see my teenage years. You can add as many layers as you want. I think it's up to 100 actually. And let's get into some of the other tools that you can use here. Something that I really like to do is to show my kids that the measuring tool. So if you click on the ruler and you click from one place to another, it tells you how many kilometers it is, and then you just have to click that ruler off to take that away. So again, so it's 173 kilometers or 168 kilometers approximately from London to Toronto. Another thing that you can do is, let's pretend that I owned some property around here, or I wanted to delineate something around here. I can use this draw a line tool, and I could pretend that I owned this piece of property. When you create it into a shape, it automatically shades it and calls it a polygon, but I could say places I own, which I don't. And that will save that on there. And again, you can change the color of this, and you can edit it and add some more information here as well. You could add a picture if you'd like, and that will show up on your map. And you can see that it went into my childhood place because I was on that blue layer when I added that. You can add directions. So that will open up a new layer. So I could call this driving. And you could have the directions from London, Ontario to Toronto. And it will show you how you should drive from London to Toronto, which is really neat for kids to see that, yeah, it might only be 168 kilometers as the crow flies, but here's how we actually get from place to place. You can share the map with each other. So if I wanted to share it with my friend who I was working on it with, I could type their name in here and give them editing access, which is great because then students can work on projects together. This also allows you to just share it so that people can only view your map, which is what you're going to want to do when your kids share it with you again. You can preview the map to see what it looks like live to somebody else who doesn't have editing access. And you can see that there's my little plot that I own. Here's my driving directions, the places I've been. Newfoundland is way over here. I'm going to go back into editing over here. And then these three buttons up here allow you to do a couple of things. So obviously make a new map. You can export to a KML file. And if you do that, what you'll be able to do on Google Earth is to import your KML file, and you'll be able to overlay your map on top of Google Earth, which is a really interesting thing that you can do with Google My Maps that I love. And the other thing that you can do is print your map, and that's nice for kids to be able to do, and it'll show their whole map and everything on there. I hope this has given you a good overview of how to use Google My Maps in your classroom. And again, please check out the link to the presentation where you can learn some other really excellent ways that you can use Google My Maps in a lot of different curriculum strands. Thank you for watching. Have a great day.